All right, what's up? We're at Trash Panda Drinking Club in North Houston, Northside Village. My name is Paxton Fleming. I go by YaBoyPax. I'm a beat maker, sound designer, experimentalist from Orlando, Florida, currently living in Los Angeles, out in Houston, Texas right now, today. I make beats, I release music, I have sample packs I put out online, I have a plugin I've made, and there's a couple other things I did, but that's it for the most part. Yes, yeah, today is my first time in Houston, and I love it. I've never been out here before. I've always been influenced by Houston music, and I love, growing up in like the early 2000s, Houston was really big when I was a kid, like the Chopped and Screwed sound and stuff like that, Paul Wall and Mike Jones, and it's cool to be out here and sort of see that, you know what I mean, being in record stores and stuff and seeing that influence around. It's my first time in the city. I really like it. It reminds me a lot of where I grew up in Orlando, especially around this side of town. And yeah, it's cool, man. I'm glad to be out here. I finally made it out here. I'm a real big on experimenting and being a sort of experimentalist. I like sort of playing with sound and doing sound design just for its own sake, and then sort of reinterpolating that back into hip hop and into beats. And I think that's a lot of what my sound is and what I like in the beat scene and like the LA beat scene and just in general. What I like in music is people that do things that are kind of out of the box and trying to do something unique and do something for the first time, but then find a way to reinterpolate that back into something that people can nod their head to, and we could play out in a venue like this and people aren't going to run away. They're actually going to hear something that they might not have known that they were into, for the first time. I'm big into sampling just for the sake of, making beats for rappers, and I never want to let go of that ability to make just a boom bap classic with just great drums and then a classic jazz sample or soul sample like that. But something that I'm really interested in sampling is like experimental music and ambient music, and I think there's a lot of textures and things in between tracks on a LP or on stuff that's experimental and textural in the first place that can make really cool hip hop that people might not know about or skip over. And I think that's the kind of stuff that I really like to listen to is, the in-between sounds and the more textural elements of a record. Again, reinterpolated back with crazy drums and stuff like that. So sampling, like cassettes of like underground experimental labels and stuff like that. Like that's a big thing that I've been doing recently. More than just sampling a jazz track that might have everybody dug, or a soul song that, everybody's heard or knows about. It's really classic. It's more, difficult to find. Yeah. I use a lot of hardware. Like I have my Octatrack, Electron Octatrack is kind of the brain that I go through, and can use that to send MIDI out to, some synthesizers and things like that. I have a lot of Korg synthesizers, a Mini-Log, and then that micro series, or not the micro. I had a micro Korg, but the Volca series, stuff like that. My favorite piece of gear is probably the SP404 OG. That's kind of like my baby. I feel like each one of them have their own unique sound, and I don't think I'll ever get rid of that thing or sell that thing, just because I really like the way it sounds. And it sits right now, I mix through a console, so even if I'm in Ableton, I'll go Ableton out and then the Octatrack out into the console, and the SP404 OG vinyl synth compressor is on the master bus insert on the console. So even if I'm doing outboard compression in my rap, I'm still using that SP404 as kind of like my master effects at the end of the chain on the insert bus. That's my favorite. That's like my child, and I don't think I'll ever get rid of that thing. I love it to death. It kind of scares the shit out of me, to be honest, because it's not that I think anyone will ever make AI as good as I make music and you make music and any of us in here make music, but I think it'll make it so a lot of people that would have commissioned something will just, it'll be easier for them to generate something, and I think that it's kind of fucked up. I think a lot of corporations that do sync would rather invest money in AI than in sync, you know what I mean? I think that's negative. But as far as like generating sample material or generating stuff that other people could use, I think it's really cool. And generative music has been around for a while, and I've done stuff in Super Collider and C-Sound and things, Pure Data, that's basically generative music, where, you know, it's the algorithm that's creating the melody and stuff like that, and that's fun for me to go and then resample and use in different ways. So I think that's been around for like decades, so I don't think that's any different, but the idea that someone could go generate a full piece with drums and, you know, piano and stuff like that is kind of scary to me, just for the sync implications, you know. Corporations might do that instead of paying someone like me to actually make something, you know. Thanks for doing this, dude. I mean, honestly, thanks to everybody in Houston for fucking welcoming me to your city and shit like that. I really enjoyed being out here. I'm definitely going to be back. And shout out to Akashick Records, shout out to Beat Circuit, shout out to fucking, you know, Doc Wava for fucking hanging out with me, and J Red for, you know, taking me around the city. YaBoyPax, I'm at the end of the tour, so I don't have any more dates. This was kind of the last. I did Sacramento and Dallas, and now I'm in Houston. But Love Supreme, California, always shout out. Love Supreme, we do it in Ontario. You know, anybody out here, wherever you are, come through. We do an open aux section, and we always have out-of-towners coming on our sets. It's a thing that we do. Shout out the Hut, too, in Dallas. And yeah, Love Supreme, California, the whole LA scene, shout out to them. And shout out to everybody that's all around the country and that's disconnected. It's nice to be able to come out and know that I have friends in whatever city. So, you know, thanks for having me on, and shout out to the Rigor in Akashick Records. So yeah, I appreciate it.